Hi, I'm Hussein Abdullahi. In this video, we will see how we can create a simple MVC application using ASP.NET and Visual Studio 2015. So the application we will build today will contain a model, which is an employee. Then we will create the controller, which will handle the CRUD operation, the creation, modification, and the remove of an employee. Then this controller will talk to a view. The view will be created in HTML and C# scripts, which is well known as CS HTML in ASP.NET applications. And these views will accept input and will talk to the controllers in order to process the requests of the user, which could be either creation or remove or update of an employee. So to start with, I go and create a new project. You can do this from the start page, or you can go to File, New Project, and in this dialog we will select C#, Visual C# here. We go to Web tab, and here I select ASP.NET Web Application. Give a name to my application as Employees Directory, for example. Then hit Create. In this tab, we'll select the template we want to use. So for today, we'll use a Web API, which contains either Web API and MVC. Here I'll go to change the default authentication mode, which is individual user accounts. I'll select no authentication because we don't need it right now. We may see it in another tutorial. Go and select OK. Once our project is created, we can go here to Google Chrome and select F5, or just click here. And this will bring, the project will compile and will run. So for that, it will start the default navigator for me, which is Google Chrome in my case. And here it creates a local host with a random port number. And here it's loading my application, the index page. So here is the default page in ASP.NET. With a couple of items in the menu, the home and the API with the application name. Here I come back to Visual Studio and stop the debugging using this red icon here. So let's take a look to our project. So here we have the models, we have the controllers, and we have the views. Those along with the scripts, which contains the JavaScript files. We have also the content, which contains the CSS files. And also we have in the views the shared views for the layout and the error page that will show in case of any error occurring in the server. So to build our simple employees directory, first we'll go to models and add the employee model. To do that, I right click to the models folder, click add class. We will call our class employee add, and here is our employee. So first of all, I should add an ID for my employee, which could be of type int or string. Let's call it ID. The reason we add the ID is that every model will be converted to a table inside our database, and each table of course should have an ID. With the ID, the employee will get a property of type string, which will be his name. Let's say his full name. With the full name, each employee will have a department. So here is our employee. He has the ID, full name, and department. Now, after creating the employee, we should go to the controllers folder. Right click and select add new controller. And here, to add a controller with the views, I should select MVC5 controller with the views using entity framework. If you want to add only web services, that means a controller without the views, so you can go and select web API controller with actions using entity framework. Here I want to add views to my controllers, so I select this one, click add. Now in this window I should give the model, which is of type employee. Select the model, and here in the data context class, in this case I don't have any database connected to this project, so I should add one. Let's call it by default employees directory context. It's okay. And here I select add, and the controller will be named employees controller, so it takes by default, how that works, it takes the name of my model and add as plural. Select add. So here I have a very known error. In this case, in each time you try to add a controller, you might get this error. So it says that I should rebuild the project. What that means? That means I should go to build and click here build solution. I can do this using this menu item or using the shortcut Control Shift B. So I select this one. It's now building the project. The build is succeeded. Now I can go to controllers, click add again, controller, MVC5 controller, add, select the model, which is employee, then go and add employees directory, add, and let this controller name the default one, and click add. So what it has done now, it created the employees controller, which has an instance to the employees directory context, which is our database, and it creates the default views for our project, which will be the index, which will display the list of the employees, the details, which will display a view that contains the details of a given employee using its ID. And here I have a create method, which will return the view that will create the employee that view will contain actually it will contain a form in which I can put the full name and the department of the employee. Once I have filled that form, when I click submit, that information which are the full name and the department will be sent to this method called create, which accepts a parameter of type employee. Once those information are sent to this method will get that employee and access the database, access the employees table, and add that employee to that table. Then it will commit those changes using this save changes method. Then it will come back to display the index view, which will contain all the employees list. The edit method, so it takes an ID. Its role will be changing the properties of an employee. So it will give it the new full name and the new department. Then we'll have the delete method. The delete method will try to delete an employee using its ID. So the creation here of the new controller, it creates a controller. Then with that controller, it created a folder called employees, which contains the views that will be used. So here I have the index view. The index here, so in the index will display the full list of the employees. So here I have display 4, so it will display a table of the employees. The name of the first column will be first name, the second column will be department, and here is for each loop that will display all the information related to the full name and the department of the employees. So the same here for the edit, which will contains the form for the edit. Here the details, which will display only labels for the details of each employee, the delete view here, and the create view. Each one of these views are bound to these views we were seeing here. So for the index, for example, I can right click to this and select go to view, and here look at what it have done. It have gone to the index.cshtml, which is the view correspondent to this view. The same for the details. I can right click and select go to view. Now it have gone to the details.cshtml. So now let's try F5 or select Google Chrome here to run this project. So here in my case it goes to employee/details. I will go to the home page, and now I want to go to see the list of all the employees, which is the index.cshtml. So the way I can access the index.cshtml page is through this method index here. The way I can access this method is using the employees here. So here I come back to my page, select /employees. So I just copy and paste this one, which is the name of the controller, removing the word controller, and then select enter. So for the first execution, it will last a little bit longer as it will create the database for us, and it will get the information from the database, the information related to the employees, which are the full name and the department. So here it created the table, and the table is empty because we do not have yet any information in our database. So let's create a new employee. So here is the view for the creation of the employee, which is this one, create.cshtml. So the view relating to this code page is actually this view. Okay, so now let's create a new employee. Let's select this name, for example, and for the department, let's select, for example, human resources department, and select create. So now it adds this record to our database. Let's create a new one. Let's select this name, and let's create R&D, research and development. So let's create. Then in my database I have two items. So here in each one I can go and edit in order to change. So here I can go and change to select the full name, human resources, for example, then click save. Now I have changed that record to be human resources, not anymore HR. The same thing, I can go and select details to see the details of this employee. Back to list, and I can go to delete. Here I'll have a confirmation view to say, are you sure you want to delete this employee? So by clicking delete, I can go and delete that one. Back to list. So here we have this information which is displayed from our database. So where is our database, where it is stored? So the database actually is inside the app data. Here we can't see anything because Visual Studio by default hides some files. So if I want to show these files, either I can select this item which says show all files. So here I find the MDF file, which is the database file for this project. Right click and select open folder on File Explorer. So here I can see inside that file in my application, I can see the MDF file with the LDF logger here. So this is our physical database, the file of our database. Now if I want to see information inside this database, what are the tables inside this database and which information is stored inside this database, I can go to using a tool that I can find inside the view menu here, which is Server Explorer or SQL Server Object Explorer. So you see here inside Server Explorer I have data connections, and I have here the employees directory. I right click and select refresh in order to connect to that database. Now I can go, and actually it's not displaying correctly for me. Let's try. Yeah, now that's okay. So I can click right here, and here I have all the tables, and here you see the employees table. And the employees table is composed of an ID, full name, and department as we created it. So I right click to the employees table, and here click show table data. By clicking that, I can go here and see all the data stored inside my database. So here is the employees table, which contains the ID, the full name, and department columns. So here is our database. So now what I can do is that I can either modify data from this view. So here I can go and change this R due to be research and development, for example. And here I want to save it, but there is no save button. Only what I have to do is click and enter. Now when I go and run my project again, I can see that this value is changed. So I go to the employees index. Now it will query that database, and here it will get the new value of the department is research and development. The same thing I can do here. I can go and edit, and here I can write it back to R and D. Click save. Now I come back to Visual Studio, stop the execution, and here I can refresh the data. Now it's again R and D. So thank you.